What's up, you guys? Thank you for clicking on this video. So as you can tell by the title, we have some things that I kind of missed. I'm going to be doing some other videos on this Q&A from TFW 2005 and Markclonus from Hasbro. This interview dropped a few months ago in June. I did separate topical videos discussing some of the topics and reveals in this interview, but I didn't do everything for some reason. I think it was because, you know, there was a ton of news going around at the time, especially when Michael Bay and Josh Cooley, that whole movie rumor came out, and there was a bunch of other stuff, so I just kind of forgot to do more videos on this. And then the San Diego Comic-Con interview dropped a few weeks later, which was even bigger than this Q&A. So the videos got derailed by that as well, and then other stuff that was revealed, leaked, and rumored. Y'all know how it goes here on the channel and with the Transformers franchise as a whole. There's literally so much stuff to talk about every week. It's insane, but I love it. You know, it makes for good content on the channel. It makes for hype in the fandom, and it makes for an overall fun Transformers fan experience. You know what I mean? But let's get right down to the nitty gritty. There's a few question and answers that I want to discuss here. So the first one is, so TFW asks, is Age of the Prime still going to be a 2-year line? And if so, are you done with trilogies now? And Mark answered, I wouldn't say trilogies are off the table. There was a lot of discussion around how to best handle Age of the Primes as a whole. A trilogy was part of that discussion at one point. Ultimately, though, we chose to put the fan experience first, making sure collectors could complete all 13 Primes over 2 years instead of stretching it to 3. I actually really like this. I know there was a lot of people when this news first broke, and I think this news was leaked like a year or two in advance, possibly, that Age of the Primes would just be a 2-year line. I'm game for this. I'm kind of sick of the trilogies. Oh, shoot, my hair. But it is such a pain dealing with freaking curly hair. If you're a mixed person, if you're a light skin, you all know the feeling. Like, or if you just have curly hair in general, you don't have to be mixed or light skin. But man, it's annoying. You make one little move and it's freaking all the way out to here. But anyway, yeah, this is good. I think this is a good strategy going forward. Hopefully they move to more of like a Marvel Legends or Star Wars Black Series or G.I. Joe Classified sort of thing for the collector's line going forward. Sort of a unified brand of figures for a line instead of having, you know, this is Studio Series, this is Legacy, this is Age of the Primes, this is Generations, this is Generation Selects, you know, all these different sublines. It's getting kind of tiring at this point. So hopefully this means they're kind of moving into something a bit more tight-knit with all the releases. That would be nice in my opinion. But another question here is, you've said the Primes have no retools planned, but could there be alternate versions of the characters themselves, i.e. Onyx with his IDW color scheme, Prima with his Covenant head, etc.? And Mark answers with, I don't recall saying that, but if fans speak up, why wouldn't we consider recolors or partials? I think it's clear that our team are just fans like you are. I know what it feels like to be in the Hey Hasbro, do this for me please group, so everything is on the table. Good answer. You know, everything is on the table, it seems like, except for Energon and Beast Machines. It seems like they're kind of taking their sweet time on that. But I do remember him saying this in, like, I think it was an Instagram DM where somebody asked him something and he responded with, the Primes have no retools planned. But obviously, it seems like plans have changed in terms of whether that's actual remolds or if that's, you know, repaints and stuff like that, which I would be open to. There's a lot of retool and repaint potential with these 13 Prime molds, and Hasbro is not just going to make brand new freaking molds for 13 Transformers characters and releases and not repaint them, not retool them, not reuse them, and certainly not re-release them if they become expensive nowadays. That's their whole MO. So it just makes sense to me. But yeah, I mean, if this was the plan to begin with, I wonder why Mark even said that in the first place. I think he said this earlier this year. I do remember him saying this. It's kind of weird he doesn't remember, but anyway, I'm open to see what they could do with the 13 Primes in the future. And then this other question here is, Age of the Primes is focusing on the 13 Primes, but could we eventually see new figs of the other Primes like Sentinel, Nova, Nominus, etc.? And Mark answered with, I think up front when we discussed the trilogy, we were planning on fitting in some other Primes as we would have another year to bring those guys to the main line. Now that we are a 2-year program, it seems the exclusive slots have an opportunity for, say, a Logos or Sentinel Prime, which we do have a listing for a Sentinel Prime, and we're probably going to be seeing some other primes that aren't from the 13 at some point soon, whether that's next year or 2027 or beyond. It just makes sense that like those characters have got to be coming at some point, you know, Zeta Prime and stuff like that. So this is something that I think, you know, Mark is definitely hinting at. You know, that it's something that they have planned later on down the line. I'm really excited to see what that Sentinel Prime pack listing is going to be next year. Hopefully, fingers crossed, guys, it is the maybe an animated Voyager class Sentinel Prime, because Sentinel was done dirty back in the day, making him only a deluxe. He should have been a Voyager. So hopefully it's maybe that, but I could see them just retooling the Siege Astro Train mold to make him into his IDW design. I could see that as well. That's probably more likely the more cheaper option, and especially since I think the pack was leaked to be an exclusive in the listing. So if it is an exclusive, it makes more sense for you know, the budget and everything like that for it to be a retool or a repaint of a previous mold and not a new mold like an animated Voyager class Sentinel Prime would need to be. So I don't know, we're really gonna have to wait and see on what that Sentinel is going to be, but definitely there's going to be other primes coming you know, next year and beyond, no doubt about it. And the last question and answer that I wanted to cover in this video is, how would you differentiate Skybound toys from the usual G1 stuff? And Mark answered with the thing about Skybound that really stands out from other comic lines in the past is the style. I'm a big proponent of style and aesthetics always needing to be pushed, which would in turn give a unique look to our products. I would love to bring in all the dents and scratchy battle damage onto the actual sculpt detailing instead of doing them as Tampo Deco treatments. I think fans really liked the chinks and tears in the armor pieces on Thundertron, so that's what I would like to do. Yes, 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 more of this, please. I've been advocating on the channel here and there over the years for more sort of battle damage sculpt and paint, especially sculpt, not just paint. You know, we've seen battle damage paint over the years. A lot of it hasn't been done good. Some of it's been actually done right. So hopefully with this Skybound stuff, Mark actually sticks to his word here at some point, because we do have that rumored Skybound Optimus that I think I broke for the first time in the Transformers community back in, I think that was June. That release is rumored. So I definitely think they're going to be getting into Skybound stuff at some point soon. You know, this comic is really popular now. It's becoming like sort of a cult following within pop culture and comic books for the 2020s, the last 2 or so years since the Skybound stuff started, which is great for the franchise, obviously. I'm loving it, and the comic is great. I gotta catch up on stuff. I think I'm on like issue 12 or 13 or something. But yeah, I definitely would love to see maybe they do new molds for certain characters. That's kind of a way for Hasbro to redo G1 characters again. I know that sounds kind of crazy, but I mean, that's what Hasbro's about, especially with G1 stuff. But there's so many opportunities and routes they could go in terms of Skybound figure releases, and especially since we know the Studio Series comic subline is coming in 2027 with the Marvel Comics Soundwave repaint and the Leader Class IDW Fortress Maximus, among other stuff we probably don't know about for 2027 and beyond for comic book releases. So I definitely think Skybound stuff is coming sooner rather than later, especially with that rumored Skybound Optimus on the horizon. But yeah, guys, that about does it for all the question and answers I wanted to cover in this specific video. There's going to be a few more of these videos dropping about some key details in this Q&A. It's always really important to cover these because they're always teasing stuff in these interviews. They're always either confirming stuff or denying things. So it's really important to get this information out there and discuss it with you guys. And also, it's just fun to kind of speculate and you know, give thoughts on all these answers, because there's a lot of interesting things that come from these interviews that a lot of people kind of just gloss over, you know. But yeah, guys, let me know down in the comments below, how do y'all feel about the answers that Mark gave here. And yeah, guys, thank you for watching this video. I'll catch y'all in the next one. Bye.